spring is here. It may be a little chilly right now, but it's time to get those gardens going, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, talking specifically about the soil. And we have with us Bernalillo County Open Space Coordinator Colleen McRoberts, who's here with us this morning. We also have backyard farming instructor Sean Hardman with us as well. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in this morning, and let's get to it. Let's get our garden going. What do we need to know? We have some soil here. Sean, I believe you're going to talk to us a little bit about that. Can you tell us what we need to know to get started?
Well, to get started, and part of the backyard farming series is to first get to know your soil.
Okay.
Understand what kind of soil you have in your backyard or your farm, and proceed from there. Because each soil is different.
Right. And you have some examples.
I do have one example. One of the things that we do in the class is we do what's called the sedimentation jar. And what that is you take a sample of your soil, you flood it with water, and then the particles start separating. So what you get sand on the bottom, and you get organic matter on top. And it just makes a great visual. You can see some of the layering going on from the coarse sand to the fine sand and the silt. So, it's a beginning point to understand what you're dealing with and where to go from there. This is from my backyard, and you can see that I have a healthy layer of organic matter incorporated.
What does this mean? So if this is happening, what does that mean for you when it comes to your garden?
Well, from this you can infer information. You can get to understand its soil textural class.
Okay.
And that's this triangle right here.
Okay.
And so each soil is different. My soil happens to be a sandy loam. So it falls right here in this corner of the triangle.
Ah.
And from there, I begin to understand parameters like how much water it can hold.
Okay.
How much nutrients it can store for plants.
Right.
And so you use that as a starting point to then
to figure out what kind of plants does that make a difference in what types of plants that you plant to grow?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Not all plants are suitable for this desert environment. So a native soil like this, I might be restricted to more desert-like plants.
Right.
Whereas if I want more of a Victorian garden, I would have to amend the soil heavily with organics.
Okay, gotcha. And you brought in some other stuff too. What else do you have down here?
Down here we have the heavy lifters in a garden, which are
Okay.
worms, and they haven't quite woken up yet.
Still sleeping, huh?
Yeah. But worms provide a great service. One, they consume organic material and convert it into a natural soil amendment, which what we call castings.
Okay.
And they're all down at the bottom.
And so are these worms found naturally, or is this something you want to bring and put into your garden? Or?
They're not
Okay.
naturally. We do have native worms,
Okay.
but there are two kinds. These are red wigglers. So these are what are they live between the organic matter and the soil. But they live in that interface where they metabolize the organic material and then it gets incorporated into the soil.
Okay.
So it's kind of a breakdown tilling process.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
They're the heavy lifters. Here in New Mexico, we predominantly have what are they called? Night crawlers.
Night crawlers?
There we go, yes. and their habitat is different, and then they physically burrow into the ground, and then they come out and they grab organic matter, and they drag it back in the hole for consumption.
Is that good or bad?
Oh, it's great.
Oh, it's good. Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you can find worms everywhere. I live in a neighborhood, and in the summertime after it rains, I can go to the street and kind of start knocking organic material away, and I can find these little worms.
Okay.
And so, although, to keep them in your garden, it's a little difficult. You have to provide the habitat for them.
Okay. So you have to keep your soil.
You have to keep your soil relatively moist. You have to make sure you have a nice layer of organic matter.
Okay.
And they should be happy there.
Well, that's a good tip. So where can folks get more tips from you on how they can look at their soil, figure out what they have, and figure out the right plants to plant in their garden from you? How can people get more tips?
Well, I'm a volunteer.
Okay.
But I volunteer through the Master Composters.
Okay.
Through Bernalillo County Ag Extension.
Okay.
They're a great resource for composting. And then the Ag Extension themselves is a great resource for to better understand your soils and whatnot. And then we have a federal agency called the Natural Resource Conservation. And they're the data repository of all the soil information in the state, if not the country. And so that's one of the things we talk about in the Backyard Farming Series is, what kind of resources are available for a backyard farmer to then learn more about the soil that they're dealing with.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much for your tips today. And Colleen, really quick, don't want to forget you over here, but tell us a little bit about some of the events that are coming up with Bernalillo Open Space.
We have a ton of events. The Backyard Farming Series is a great example of that. We hope people will come out this Saturday and learn about gardening from the ground up.
Right.
But we'll be doing a lot of other things this month. Family programs. We'll be talking about water catchments for wildlife. We have a fantastic event at the Kecky Open Space in the North Valley, Jazz Under the Stars. So a lot of wonderful things coming up, and people can learn about all these free events at our website at www.burnco.gov/open space.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much. An emphasis on the fact that they are free events, and you can get your garden going and get it done right. Thanks so much, guys, for coming in this morning. And of course, we'll have more info on our website, casa.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.